Today is July the 1st, 2018, and welcome to Free Agent Frenzy. It's early in the day yet, but this is the first batch of signings that we know so far. We're going to discuss all that coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We'll review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So today is Free Agent Frenzy, July the 1st, 2018. It's still early in the day, but thanks to our online resources, there's all kinds of confirmed signings that are going to be taking place here very shortly. Many of these deals are not actually signed on paper as of yet, but have been agreed to verbally and in principle here. So we don't expect any of these deals to be falling apart. So we have quite a few confirmed signings already, and there will be more to come later in the day. So stay tuned for further updates as the information develops and as the news breaks here. So obviously at this point in time, we're still waiting on the big John Tavares watch. There is no additional news on John Tavares as of the recording of this video. Hopefully later today we'll have some more clarity on where things are going, or at least what teams are out or where he may be going sometime today. But let's jump in here to some of these other players that we do know where they're heading. Now, of all these guys, the only one who's remaining with their existing clubs is Ryan Reeves, is remaining with the Vegas Golden Knights. It had been reported that he'd been speaking to teams at the New York Rangers as well as the Calgary Flames, and he was apparently looking at getting 2 to 3 year contracts with those clubs, but Vegas has stepped up and offered him a pretty lucrative deal to remain with the Golden Knights. Ryan Reeves gets a 2-year deal worth $2.7 million per season. So obviously they overpaid to keep him here. I don't really think Ryan Reeves is a $2.7 million type of player, but obviously they felt it was important to retain him. Thankfully for Vegas, they have all kinds of cap space, so this really shouldn't be too big of a problem longer term here, but it's certainly an overpayment when you look at some of the other contracts around the NHL. Now, staying with the Golden Knights here, some of their other players are still kind of up in arms. There's still some that we don't know where they're going yet, like the real deal James Neal. There's no real report on him as of yet. That's still undecided, but we do know David Perron is leaving Vegas and heading back to the St. Louis Blues. David Perron is apparently set to sign a 4-year contract worth $4 million per year with the St. Louis Blues. Obviously, Perron played with the Blues in the past here and is going back to a familiar territory. It's unfortunate Vegas wasn't able to retain him, but they do seem to have their hand in a lot of other guys here, so we'll see what else Vegas does here to compensate for this loss. But Perron is heading to St. Louis. Now, we don't have confirmation as of yet, but staying with Vegas here for a moment, they do appear to be the front runner to sign center Paul Stastny. So obviously we saw the Winnipeg Jets make a trade with the Habs yesterday, which we reported on this channel, and we did discuss possibly they may be trying to make some cap space to sign Stastny, but I also did caution everybody that that might not necessarily be the case. They have plenty of other contracts to look after here with a lot of their younger players that need extensions, etc., or new deals, and this was not a guarantee they were keeping Stastny, and it looks as though last night they were told that Stastny's likely heading in another direction, and it looks like Vegas right now is the front runner. That one's not confirmed, so we'll update that deal a little bit later on once we have confirmation, but right now it looks like Stastny is heading to Vegas. Now, we have plenty of goaltenders to talk about here. Obviously, a lot of goalies are changing teams. There's a big goaltender carousel going around the NHL. Former Boston Bruins backup Anton Khudobin is going to the Dallas Stars on a 2-year contract. Now, apparently, Khudobin was pretty close with the Bruins as well as the Stars. The negotiations were pretty tight from what I've been reading online. It looks as though here that Khudobin was less than $150,000 difference between the two offers. He tried to get Boston to match it or even bridge the gap just a little bit, even $50,000, and they would absolutely not budge at all. So he opted to go to the Dallas Stars. So he'll be joining Dallas on a 2-year contract. Boston has then in turn replaced him with Jaro Halak, who they've given a 2-year contract for. The terms of the value of that contract has not been revealed as of yet, but Jaro Halak will be going to the Boston Bruins to replace Anton Khudobin as the backup to Tuukka Rask. Staying with the goaltender carousel for a moment here, obviously the Detroit Red Wings will be signing Jonathan Bernier to a new contract. We also reported Cam Ward will indeed be signing a 1-year deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, and Carter Hutton is signing a 3-year contract with the Buffalo Sabres. So obviously he likely will become their starting goaltender. It's been reported that Hutton wanted to have more opportunity to play and be a starter here in the NHL after having a lot of solid years as a backup between his time in Nashville and St. Louis. So he will be going to the Buffalo Sabres. Hutton reportedly is being offered a 3-year contract at $2.75 million per season. So that's a pretty good security for Hutton. Pretty good deal for Buffalo if it works out that he can indeed be a good starting goaltender and play through that contract. Winnipeg Jets goalie Michael Hutchinson's off to be the part of the Florida Panthers organization. Obviously, Hutchinson kind of ended up in the minors. He didn't really work out as an NHL goaltender as of yet, but given the right opportunity, I think there's still a potential there for him. I'm a little bit surprised he lands with the Panthers organization, having Luongo and Reimer both signed the contracts for a few more years. Obviously, he can be good insurance for them should one of them go down with injuries, which unfortunately for the Panthers has happened more often than not in the past couple of years. So I guess he'll be an insurance policy for the Florida Panthers, but I'm not sure how much of an opportunity he'll get to play. Injuries will certainly dictate a big part of his playing time there with the Florida organization. Detroit Red Wings are re-signing Mike Green to a 2-year contract, and they're bringing back Thomas Vanek as well. Obviously, Vanek's bounced around to a number of teams, but has been with the Red Wings organization in the past here. So Thomas Vanek looks to be signing a 1-year deal at $3 million, whereas Green's getting a 2-year contract at over $5 million. So a couple of veteran signings for the Detroit Red Wings. Defenseman Eric Greiba, who was recently bought out by the Edmonton Oilers, appears to be on the verge of signing a 1-year contract with the New Jersey Devils. Obviously, it's been reported that the Devils likely want it. At least one more defenseman that was more defensive-minded. So Greiba should be a fairly low-cost fit there. I mean, he's got a fair bit of experience now between his time in Ottawa and Edmonton, and can certainly provide some decent minutes and stability back there. But there is plenty of more, probably you could argue, better options available. It's kind of surprising to see some of these guys being signed so early when there's certainly bigger names on the market still, but I guess it depends on what fits the budget and what teams are feeling here. But certainly some of these signings that you think would come later in the day or even further into free agency here are happening as some of the early signings. So it looks as though Eric Greiba's on his way to New Jersey. Another former Carolina Hurricane will be joining Bill Peters in Calgary. It looks as though they're signing center Derek Ryan to a 3-year contract, and they're also signing winger Austin Czarnik, formerly of the Boston Bruins. I'm not sure he'll actually have a whole lot of playing time in Calgary, but hopefully get more of an opportunity than he did in Boston. If not, he can certainly be a player for their AHL affiliate for sure. Vancouver Canucks appear to be the front runners to be signing Washington Capitals former center Jay Beagle here. Obviously, Beagle just won the Stanley Cup with the Capitals and has been a fairly high in-demand type of player. He's a center iceman. He's good on draw. He's got a lot of experience. He's a cup winner now. So that type of player is the type of guy who's fairly high in demand, and there's not a lot like them on the NHL free agent market right now. So it looks as though the Canucks are going to be the winners here in the Beagle sweepstakes. Hard to imagine there's been such a bidding war for such bottom 6 and 4th line players, but the free agent class the way it is, that seems to be a little bit more of a common trend than you think this year. Beagle appears to be signing a 4-year deal worth about $3 million per season. Now the Canucks also appear to be in on Antoine Roussel, formerly of the Dallas Stars. Now that contract as well looks to be around a 4-year deal, a similar type value. Now that one's, not sure if that one's 100% confirmed as of yet, but you kind of have to question that contract a little bit. I mean, Roussel could certainly be a role player for the Canucks. I can see him being a fit. Obviously, they've got a lot of young players who they could use that grit, that toughness to kind of protect them and provide that physical presence on the team. So I don't completely see Roussel as a bad fit in Vancouver, but if that dollar value being reported around $3 million or more is accurate, then that's certainly a questionable amount of money. But we'll see what happens here with the Canucks. That one to be confirmed. It looks as though they're definitely landing Jay Beagle, but it looks as though they're signing Antoine Roussel, formerly of the Dallas Stars as well. Nicholas Chalmerson signing a 2-year contract extension and remaining with the Coyotes organization. So obviously that's a little bit more of a minor deal. Obviously he's not a pending free agent here, but he would have been a free agent next season. Has opted to re-up with the Coyotes. So he's extended his time in Arizona by 2 more seasons. Now the big one here, as you can tell by the thumbnail, is JVR. The JVR sweepstakes are finally coming to an end here. We know where he's heading. He's going home to the Philadelphia Flyers, where he started his career. He's getting a 5-year deal at $7 million. Now, there was obviously, with the number of goals he put up over his career, and especially last season, there's obviously a lot of interest in this guy. We heard it was anywhere from 6 to 8, upwards of 10 teams trying to acquire his services. I actually had speculated when we did our off-season videos here at the end of the regular season throughout the playoffs, when we talked about the Flyers, that a question whether or not JVR could return to where he started in Philly. I think he's the perfect fit there. They need that type of winger to kind of round out their top 6. He's obviously familiar with a lot of the guys on that team still. He grew up in the New Jersey area, which is close to Philadelphia as well. So obviously I think I've made a lot of sense, and he's certainly going to get paid. Makes up for the bad trade when they traded him to the Leafs for Luke Schenn. Obviously, the Leafs clearly won that trade big time. So for him to return back to the Flyers organization and not have to trade for him and get him as a free agent will certainly make up for that bad trade many years ago. So JVR returns to the Philadelphia Flyers organization. That is going to be huge for them for sure. One last quick note here on goaltenders before we go. It looks as though the New York Islanders do appear to be the front runners to sign Robin Leonard, as we kind of previously discussed as well. That is not 100% confirmed as of right now, but it does look as though that's the direction things are going. Most of these other goalies have kind of been spoken for, as we've already alluded to in this video, but Robin Leonard is one of the names, is not confirmed as of yet, but it does look as though he may be heading to the New York Islanders. So leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of these signings. There's obviously all kinds of guys changing teams today. So obviously it's free agent frenzy day. There's going to be all kinds of players changing teams. It's a major day in the NHL where sometimes we see the landscape change quite substantially. Up here in Canada, it's Canada Day as well, so we're celebrating our nation's birthday. So it's a very busy day up here in Canada between Canada Day as well as all these free agent signings. We're probably going to see some trades today. I know a lot of trades are kind of being held up based on what happens with John Tavares. There's a lot of teams kind of taking a wait-and-see approach. So we'll see what happens. It could very well be a very busy day with NHL news, so stay tuned for more updates as the news happens. If you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.